Hi, everyone. Doug Adams here from RunDNA Podcast, and I want to get out a really quick but impactful podcast episode. I'm just coming back from combined section meetings for American Physical Therapy Association, APTA CSM, and it was a great conference, and we had a great chance to meet so many people and really talk about what technologies are out there, and had some really great conversations I want to share with everyone. So today we're going to dive into a really interesting topic that has a big impact on how we analyze movement, the difference between estimation and measurement, particularly as we're talking about gait analysis here. And I want to explore a little bit why this distinction really matters and how it affects the technology we use to really understand human movement. When we started RunDNA, it was an education company, honestly. The technology came later as a way we wanted to help people create a thriving business around doing gait analysis. The actual technology isn't as critical as the way that the data is used if we can trust the data we are getting is valid and reliable. So when we're choosing which tech to focus on, we personally put a lot into the decision of what we really want to get behind. And as you're choosing what technology to use in your own business, we want to give you something to think about. So let's start with a more practical example of what this difference between estimation and measurement really is. So if you're going to meet up with a friend for coffee, when they say, what time do you want to meet? And you're getting ready to go, you're probably going to estimate, it should take me about 20 minutes to get there. You're just going to say it because if you're a minute or two late, it's not a big deal. You're meeting a friend for coffee. If you are going to get ready for a international flight, you're going to want a lot more precise data. You're probably going to want to check the traffic before you go. You're going to want to understand like a map to tell you exactly how far you are away. You're going to be much more careful about how you measure this because the stakes are much higher if you miss your airplane versus if you're a couple minutes late to coffee with a friend. This same principle of matching precision to the stakes applies to directly how we analyze human movement. We've got a lot of options for technology out there today, from inertial measurement units, handheld dynamometers, markerless 2D, up to sophisticated 3D motion capture systems. Each one of those has its place, but understanding their fundamental differences is crucial in how you use them. So let's talk about, because we saw some more of these sensors around at CSM, let's talk about IMUs first, or inertial measurement units. These are really clever devices that estimate movement patterns using accelerometers, gyroscopes, and sometimes magnetometers. It's basically like having a very sophisticated smartphone strapped to different parts of your body. And when you have a couple of these, you're actually able to interact and get some estimates of measurements with it. They're portable, they're relatively affordable speaking, and can provide some valuable insights into movement patterns. But here's the key word. That is an estimate. It is not measuring movement as much as it is estimating movements, using algorithms and using math basically to figure out what likely is happening during it there. So think of IMUs like trying to guess how many jelly beans are in a jar. You can make an educated guess based on the jar size, how densely packed the jelly beans really appear to be, and you're going to be able to come up with a pretty good estimate of maybe what's going on here. Similarly, IMUs are making educated calculation about joint angles, movement patterns based on sensor data. And just like that jelly bean estimate might be close enough for a carnival game, IMU data might be perfectly suitable for a lot of clinical applications here. Now, contrast this with 3D motion analysis. This is the gold standard in movement science. This is like counting every single jelly bean in the jar. You're using high-speed cameras, reflective markers. These systems are actually measuring precise position of body segments in three-dimensional space. So there's really no estimation involved. It's pure measurement. So what's the difference? It's all about accuracy versus convenience, and more importantly, matching the tool to the task at hand. We also see that the type of movement will have an impact on whether an estimate or a measurement is needed. So IMUs do better with stationary movements, like if you're doing a squat. An IMU might be very good because there's not a lot of noise. More dynamic movements like walking or running require a lot of filtering to take out the noise of the impacts so that you can get usable data. So there's a lot more estimation occurring versus actually measuring. So let's break this down again with some real world applications. If you're a physical therapist tracking a patient's just general progress and having them wear an IMU outside of the clinic, or you just want them to kind of walk up and down the hall and get some basic spatiotemporal data or look at some other things, an IMU might be perfectly suitable. You're looking for broad patterns and trends, and the convenience of the quick portable measurement could even mean more consistent monitoring. So there's definitely a place for those types of units. But if you're a clinician that's looking for, the subtle biomechanical effects of a new prosthesis, or you're doing a formal gait analysis to see how you might want to change somebody's gait patterns, then you need the absolute precision of 3D motion analysis. The stakes are simply too high for estimating. If you're looking at that prosthesis or you're doing gait analysis and gait retraining, then you need to be able to make sure that you're confident in the measures that you're providing. And that's where there's not always an either or, obviously, other than budget. Budget always has an impact on some of these things too. But you could use a great system. And we actually have a bunch of our Helix 3D users that will often do the analysis. And then if they want to do some in-field monitoring, they might use an IMU or something, shoe-based or body-based, that they're able to track what is happening outside of there to see if they are continuing the gait retraining. But it starts with the precision of measurement with the 3D analysis first, and then you're going to be able to see a little bit more of the benefit of some of the monitoring. So this brings us to a crucial point, and what we're really trying to convey in this quick episode here is about the principle of matching precision to potential impact. Just as you wouldn't use a rough estimate for dispensing medication or building a bridge, you wouldn't rely solely on estimating movement patterns for critical decisions or conclusions that could affect the patient's outcomes. So if you were estimating how many jelly beans are in that jar, you wouldn't, if you were a pharmacist, estimate, the bottle is this big, I should be able to fit about 30 pills in there. That should be close enough. And I'm just going to fill the bottle up and hand it to them there. And hopefully the patient has enough for what they need. It has to be precise. And when you're looking at doing things from precision, you have to make sure that the tool matches up with what you're really looking to do. It doesn't mean, though, that estimations don't have their place. In fact, they're invaluable for a lot of applications. It's just the key, and what we're really trying to convey is that understand when you're estimating something and is that sufficient enough, and when you're measuring something and when that provides enough data that you need to make an informed decision. So as technology continues to advance, we're seeing really great developments in both the estimation and the measurement tools. Like IMUs are becoming more sophisticated, better algorithms, and more accurate estimates. Definitely moving in the right direction. 3D motion capture systems are much more accessible. They're much more user-friendly. I say this all the time when I do a gait analysis. I'll tell a patient, what we just did in those past couple minutes, that 5 to 10 minutes, used to take an hour. Now we can do that in under 4 minutes if we're just trying to bang it out here. That is much faster. So both technologies are advancing, and I think it's important that we keep up with these technologies and understanding the role of them and understanding what the benefits are. So what's the takeaway? It's understanding that both estimation and measurements have their place in movement analysis. The challenge and really the opportunity lies in matching the level of precision to the potential impact of being wrong. For a general activity tracking app, estimation might be perfectly fine if you're looking to count steps, maybe cadence, and maybe a little left-right balance. For somebody that the stakes are higher and you're looking to get rid of their pain or reduce their likelihood to get injured or looking how to improve their performance, then we need much more precision. We need much more measurement. So are you using the right tool for the task at hand? Hopefully this just gives you a little insight. I know we get a lot of questions about technology, and you can kind of understand why we've chosen the technology that we did, because I wanted to make sure that we're providing that precision for providing really meaningful interactions with gait. So thanks for listening to this quick episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Please join us and keep listening to the podcast. Check us out on YouTube and check out the RunDNA newsletter as well. And thanks as always for being part of the RunDNA community.
Like what you hear? Leave a review of the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. RunDNA helps runners and running specialists through education and technology to identify each runner's unique injury profile to avoid setbacks and maximize results. The RunDNA Podcast is produced by Ace Running LLC. The RunDNA Podcast is intended for educational purposes only. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can occur. Always seek the guidance of qualified medical professionals before making healthcare decisions. Find us online at RunDNA.com.